The House That Whispers at Night. It was a cold and rainy night when Clara arrived in the small town of Black Hollow. The journey had been long and exhausting, and she could hardly wait to rest. Clara was a young writer in search of inspiration for her next book, and something about the dark history of Black Hollow had drawn her in. The town was known for its mysteries and legends, but one in particular had caught her attention. The story of the House That Whispers at Night. The house in question was an old, abandoned mansion located on a hill at the edge of town. It was said that at night, whispers could be heard coming from inside the house, as if the walls had a life of their own. Some claimed they were the spirits of the former residents, while others believed the house was a portal to another world. Clara, ever the skeptic, decided she needed to see it for herself. Upon arriving in town, Clara went straight to the only available hotel, the Black Hollow Inn. The place was as old as the town itself, with dark wood and a somber atmosphere that seemed to echo the stories she had read. The owner, an elderly man with piercing eyes, greeted her with a silent nod. "You're the writer, aren't you?" he asked, his voice hoarse and low. "Yes, I'm Clara. I came to see the famous house that whispers at night," she replied, trying to sound confident. The man looked at her for a moment, as if assessing her courage. "You know no one who enters that house ever comes back, right?" Clara laughed, trying to disguise the chill that ran down her spine. "I think that's just a legend. I'm here to uncover the truth." The man sighed and handed her the room key. "Good luck, miss. You're going to need it." That night, as the rain tapped against the hotel windows, Clara could barely sleep. Her mind was filled with images of the house and the whispers she might hear. Finally, at dawn, she decided it was time to face her fears and discover the truth behind the legend. The walk to the house was damp and cold. The wind howled through the trees, and the sky was covered in heavy clouds. When Clara finally reached the mansion, she paused for a moment to take it in. The house was imposing, with broken windows and a massive wooden door that seemed to have withstood the test of time. The garden was overgrown with weeds, and the air around it felt colder than in the rest of the town. With a sigh, Clara climbed the porch steps and pushed the door open. It creaked as it swung open, revealing a dark and dusty interior. The smell of mold and decay filled her nostrils, but she stepped inside, determined to explore every corner of the house. At first, everything seemed normal. The furniture was covered in sheets, and the walls were faded with age. But as Clara ventured deeper into the house, she began to notice strange things. The whispers started low, almost imperceptible, but soon grew louder, as if they were all around her. She tried to ignore them, but they seemed to come from every direction, echoing in her mind. "Who's there?" Clara called out, her voice trembling slightly. There was no response, only the whispers continuing, now more urgent, as if trying to tell her something. Clara felt a chill run down her spine and decided it was time to leave. But when she turned to exit, the door she had entered through was closed. She ran to it and tried to open it, but it was locked. "This can't be," she murmured, her heart racing. It was then that she realized the whispers had stopped. The silence was almost worse, heavy and oppressive. Clara looked around, trying to find another way out, but the house seemed to have changed. The walls were darker and the air was colder. She felt like she was being watched. "Please, let me out," she whispered, her legs trembling. Suddenly, a clear, icy voice echoed through the house. "You can't leave." Clara turned toward the voice and saw a shadowy figure at the top of the stairs. It was a woman, dressed in an old, faded dress, her face pale and expressionless. Her eyes were empty, but fixed on Clara. Who are you? Clara asked, her voice barely audible. I am the guardian of this house, the woman replied, her voice echoing as if coming from all directions. You entered here of your own free will, and now you belong to the house. No, that can't be true, Clara screamed, trying to back away from the figure. But the woman began descending the stairs, her feet making no sound. The house needs you. It feeds on your emotions, on your fear. And you have so much fear. Clara felt tears streaming down her face as she tried to find a way out. But the house seemed alive, the walls closing in around her, the whispers returning, now in a frenzy. She knew there was no escape. Please let me go, she cried, falling to her knees. The woman stopped in front of her, her face now showing an expression of pity. I'm sorry, but the house has already chosen you. And then the whispers became a deafening scream, and Clara felt something pulling her into the walls. She tried to fight, but it was useless. The house swallowed her, and all that remained was silence. The next morning, the hotel owner noticed Clara had not returned. He sighed, knowing what had happened. The house that whispers at night had claimed another soul. And at night, if you pass by the mansion, you might hear the whispers. And if you listen closely, you might distinguish a new voice among them. Clara's voice, whispering for you to come in